Oh, there you are. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Beer Blather 225. Privileges are not rights. Speaking of generations of imbeciles, as we were last week, we have reached the level of cretinism through the inbreeding of imbeciles unmatched in human history, or indeed elsewhere in nature. A case in point is folks like Cory Bush, or just about any Democrat for that matter. But more worrisome than the pandering of these nincompoops is the millions of idiots that fall for it, guaranteeing their own misery. In November, put the cretins out, and we're going to be showing you some of those cretins now. This is Sol Montes Bradley, the largest human repository of useless information from Virginia. And right next to me, right over there, Thomas Victor, the only living expert in World War I flamethrowers, suffering, the suffering succotash type of deal, the comings and goings of Governor Gruesome of California, riding ground zero for cretinism. Hello, Thomas.
Hello.
Are you still alive?
Well, it was super hot today, so there's a what do they call it? A critical power pricing extremity something. You pay more if you use your air conditioners. I'm going to be using my air conditioners all night. I did wait until about 5 o'clock before I turned them on, but I have two. They're not window air conditioners. They're upright air conditioners with the big monster tentacle hoses that exhaust to the outside. My mother hated air conditioning, so in the last 2 years of her life, I used to come down from my house every night, and she would just talk. I would listen because no one ever listened to her, and it would be, sometimes it would get up to 95 in this house. And she'd be fanning herself and covered in sweat and sitting on towels. And I'd say, Mother, you have to get air conditioning. Oh, I hate air conditioning. She didn't. She didn't hate it, but she said she did. So this house was built in 1913. And
They didn't have a central AC on those days, nope.
No, but they could have installed it the way all the Chinese people who've moved in on this street, they've bought houses of this vintage or slightly younger, and they put extremely nice central AC in it, and it increases the value of the house.
I wouldn't go for central. I would go for ductless separate units.
Well,
they're much better and efficient too.
This is such a small house that my two upright air conditioners handle it well. And my father had a window air conditioner. But I mean, my brother and I have set starting in February, we determined that, I would start the moving process in 2 years, 2 years from this last February, because he's got to get his credit. We're going to do some mortgage magic in Las Vegas, but perfectly legal. But I can put up with another 2 years here, I think. Maybe not. The
California, as long as Newsom is occupied trying to get
to
forbid guns, we're fine.
The California Supreme Court just gutted the what the hell are they called? The public initiative process. So now the public can no longer get initiatives on the ballot that have to do with taxation, crime, you know, all the things that people care about. And they're all whining, and it's like, keep your mouth shut. You elected these people. And to this day, you won't vote for Trump, and you're miserably unhappy, but I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You know, you're idiots.
By the way, Trump was echoing us today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I haven't heard him be so concise and so on point. One of his first acts will be to completely do away with the education department.
Oh, interesting.
Number one. And I'm going, yay! And the second one was to get to elections one day, in person, paper ballot. Thank you, goodbye.
I also know that Congress is working on legislation that will end the state's ability to interfere with general elections. I don't know if people know this, but the trial in New York with Judge Marchand is over, but the gag order remains until after the election.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's illegal. It's not law. It's not possible. This Trump would have to. Okay, it's been the district court has agreed with the judge, so now he's got to go to the state Supreme Court, and then finally the ultimate Supreme Court. But I think it's better for him if it. The theory is that Biden's going to start barking about all the shit that you know, all the accusations made in the Marchand trial, and Trump won't be able to respond. What he's going to say is he's going to say, as you know, Mr. President, and as Jake Tapper and whoever else the person is, there's a gag order on me put on by a New York state judge, and it affects me. And in my opinion, this gag order, I can say this, I'm not gagged from saying this. This is election interference because a state judge is preventing me from speaking in a national election. And these are people you put in place, Joe. So, you know, it's going to benefit him because he doesn't need to talk about the trial anymore. I mean,
I don't think anybody gives a shit anyhow.
No, I mean,
how many people have you been who are still talking about the Georgia and Florida?
Well,
trial? Does anybody remember who Jack Smith is?
The convicted felon label lasted about 36 hours. The news all barked it together, and then it went away. I mean, nobody cares. Nobody even remembers that Trump was impeached twice. It's because they all know this is all illegitimate. You know, so I don't know. I mean, if I were, I mean, okay, I'm not going to give advice to Donald John Trump, but if it were me, I would just leave. I wouldn't even contest the gag order. I would make as much political hay as I could out of the fact that a Democrat
activist, the Biden administration, through compliant judges, is interfering in the elections with lawfare. Thank you very much. Goodbye, assholes.
Like blatantly illegal lawfare. You can't have a gag order that lasts beyond the trial.
You know, you could make the case that you don't want the defendant intimidating witnesses, disparaging prosecutors. Well, the trial is over, asshole.
Exactly.
Now, what's your excuse?
See, he doesn't actually have the authority to do this.
No.
And Trump's other approach is to just say whatever he wants and dare New York to send the NYPD after him.
DeSantis already said that Florida has absolutely no intention of enforcing any request from New York. Fuck off.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is you and I talked about this last night. This is such a weird period that what I've learned is that I do believe that Americans always do the right thing after they've tried everything else. And we're in the let's collectively lose our minds and see what that's like. That's the phase we're in now.
Yeah.
And it's the weirdest thing because there's plenty of people who aren't affected by this, but there's way too many who are just being swept along by the tide of insanity. And I see that people on both sides are
That's what I was saying at the beginning. I mean, uh, of course, the spectacle of Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, Cory Bush, that Hakeem Jeffries, uh, Pocahontas, all of these morons, arguably, are good entertainment. I mean, they keep me laughing most of the day. It's not them that worry me, but a few million imbeciles who actually lap it up, like the guys in social media. Oh, today President Biden, what is it, eliminated my college debt. And you should see the answers.
oh yeah.
Because by now, anybody with an IQ higher than say 40 knows that President Biden didn't eliminate anything. He didn't pay for anything. The government doesn't pay for anything. But a welder in Louisiana is, a carpenter in New York, a plumber in California. Those are the poor suckers who are being robbed by the government in order to pay for the debts of the irresponsible fuckers who just graduated with a major in beer pong and a minor in gender studies. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And, see, okay, you just, Twitter, when I was on Twitter, I mean, if you even disagreed with someone who said something like that, you get reported and given a restriction. Mm-hmm. And now, I mean, it's like every single commenter, every single anti-leftist commenter is armed with a flamethrower. They're not holding back, and all the leftists who stomped away in a huff and then came back, they're not used to this even now. Like they've never been exposed to such excoriating equal and opposite hatred. You hate me. Look, it may surprise you to know that I hate you even more than you hate me. And I'm going to let you know about it. And I'm going to demolish your arguments. And you're going to be helpless to defend yourself. It's...
Yeah, but we're not there yet. X is still very much throttling.
Oh, of course.
Pathetic. And you are more likely to get your word out if you're peddling porn than if you're having a discussion on these matters. Just saying. It's a very weird thing. I'll tell you something in private later about this. Because a couple of new things happened there.
No, I mean, I'm just not interested in social media right now. I mean, I told you last night.
Yeah.
YouTube recommended a video, and it was a physics professor on YouTube, and he's got 1.8 million followers. And he said that Joe Rogan's show is a threat to civilization and needs to be taken off the air because Rogan gives a platform to, and then he listed a whole string of people I'd never heard of. And the one who everybody is talking about now is a guy named Terrence Howard. I'd never heard of Terrence Howard. You told me you hadn't heard of him. I asked my brother. My brother hadn't heard of him. He's an actor who's come up with a new type of mathematics that proves that Isaac Newton was wrong. Well, I
Two
listened to,
plus two equals 714.
I don't know, I listened to a bit of him, and this is a flim flam man. This is a guy
Yeah.
who's memorized a few scientific terms, and he's invented. Okay, the art of inventing new words is called a neology,
Yeah.
neologism, and
Neologism is the invented word. Neology is.
neology. Um, but it's a sign of mental issues when you're making up your own language, and it's also extremely dishonest. You're bamboozling people, and he's a smooth talker, but what he says is so. I mean, one of his theories about the creation of our solar system is that the sun crapped out our planets. Well, we already know how the solar system was created. It was created through the condensation of gases, and the Big Bang. This guy says the Big Bang is wrong, and he explains why. But I mean, I haven't heard nobody. Joe Rogan, for one thing, he platforms as many legitimate scientists as he platforms these nutters. So it's called free speech. But this physicist kept blathering incessantly about Joe Rogan's money, and it's like you're envious. You wish you were making that much money, and I don't care how much money Joe Rogan makes. It has no impact on me. Um, and in the end, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, it matters to people on social media, but people outside of social media, they don't know who Terrence Howard
Let
is.
me see. We haven't discussed this, uh, but I'll bring it up. Alex Jones is off his handle. He never had more than a tenuous connection with reality, but now it's really spinning out of control. And he's spinning out of control because he's beginning to realize that the judgment against him means he's going to have to vomit everything he makes,
Yeah,
everything he has, and then will continue the rest of his life paying the families of Sandy Hook a
yeah,
good portion of what he makes. And that is sent him into a paroxysm of craziness. And one day he cries because the government wants to close me down. The government doesn't give a flying fuck about you, baby.
no,
But the bankruptcy court is about to liquidate your assets. There's a
exactly.
difference. And you're not being persecuted for your ideas. You lost a lawsuit because you caused harm on the victims because the parents of the children killed in Sandy Hook are as much victims as anybody else. That was a nasty thing to do. And all you had to do at one point in your life was apologize and it would have gone away. Now, that said, other than that legal fact, do I give a shit if Alex Jones makes money or not? Do I care one iota whether Alex Jones has a studio and a broadcast or not? I don't give a shit. I don't watch him.
Yeah, I
I managed
mean,
to get up to here, seeing him maybe once or twice in my life.
well, okay, that Jones defaulted on all his. He was hit with multiple suits, and he got default judgments in all of them, I believe. And
Yes,
so that was stupid. Um, and he didn't. I mean, he spent 10 years going after these people,
yes.
and I watched the one where he was the victims, the survivors were awarded $1 billion, and the whole point of that award is that they have tapes of him, videos, everything, admitting that he's full of shit and he knows this isn't real, but he's doing it anyway because it was the most lucrative gig he'd ever come up
Yep.
with. And the victims' parents, some of them, have become, I think, bad faith political actors. That one guy who tried to shake hands with Kavanaugh. I mean, he does these YouTube ads,
Yes.
and he's not coming across as a man who's. I mean, okay, people say everyone grieves in their own way. He's using dramatic pauses and doing.
Oh.
He doesn't come across as a man who.
Just because you lost a child doesn't mean you're not an asshole. Some
Well,
are.
that going after the guns. I mean, I don't think these were gun people who saw the light. I think they always opposed guns. How they're going to use this, but still,
It's Connecticut Democrats. What do you want? They even elected Danang Dick as their senator. You know what they are.
But regardless of all this bad faith bullshit, children were killed by a typical mass shooter who had mommy problems. Mommy was an idiot. She bought him guns, and he killed her first. Then he went and killed the little kids. And the cops who went in there, a lot of them had to quit. They're in therapy because you don't ever want to see what an AR-15 round does to a kindergartner.
You don't ever want to see what an Asala bomb does to a kindergarten.
Exactly. And
I'm still having nightmares 41 years later.
Yeah, and Alex Jones made his own bed. He brought all of this down on his own head, thinking that it was going to make him into the world's greatest victim. And when the truth of what was going on came out, people didn't really have any idea. There's still people who say he went to jail for free speech or whatever. He didn't go to jail. He brought all of this down on himself. And as you said, the only thing these people wanted was for him to stop and to acknowledge that they weren't.
There were several points along the way before they got to trial where a heartfelt apology from him, public apology, would have been enough for many of the litigants.
Exactly.
He didn't find it in his heart to do so. Fuck him.
And then he also skipped the trial. So
yeah,
that's the stupidest thing you could possibly do. Of course, you're going to get a default judgment against you. So I have no sympathy for Alex Jones whatsoever. But I think, okay, are you going to talk about what you showed me last night on the WhatsApp, or was that just incidental?
What did I show you last night? Hold on.
Tucker Carlson.
Let me check. Tucker Carlson. Let me see. I forgot to download it to the program. Hold on just a second. Because, it goes right there with this section, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can probably show it here. Hold on. Give me just 1 second. And speaking of Alex Jones, this is exactly what we're talking about. Okay. Now I need to put this on screen. Yeah. There we go. This is the one we were talking about last night. This is the idiot. He still doesn't get it. But look at this. Alex Jones, and by the way, don't you love it when Alex Jones speaks of himself in the third person?
Hmm.
It, I think it's a symptom of a mental illness.
Yeah, it is.
I wouldn't say, Thomas, Saul Montes Bradley and a friend went into a bar. No, I'm Saul Montes Bradley, asshole. I went into a bar with a friend. Now, Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson agree that a hellraiser spirit is guiding the elite transhuman and depopulation movements. I mean, what is he going for? An insanity defense now?
Okay, the Hellraiser spirit is guiding elite transhuman or
The elite transhuman.
okay, I'm confused. This is poorly worded.
Yes, okay.
Elite. Who are the elite transhuman? Okay, is it the transhuman and depopulation movements of the elite, or is it elite transhuman
No,
and
no, it's the elite transhuman and the
who are
population movements.
the elite transhumans?
Yeah, who cares? It's a hellraiser spirit. It's guiding the XX transhuman and depopulation movements. This guy is off his fucking rocker.
Well, I mean,
And so is Cocker, by the way.
Hellraiser is a movie franchise based on novels by a horror writer named Clive Barker, who once he got rich, um, he decided he was going to become a gay leather boy, and he's this old man who runs around in black leather vests and chaps and parades a whole series of much younger boyfriends, and it's very embarrassing because his appearance was, he was writing horror books. He was very successful, and he had this innocuous sort of everyday man appearance, and so it was interesting. But now he's sort of thrown himself into the issues that he covers, and it's very banal. And for someone to say that the Hellraiser spirit is guiding, I mean, I saw the first Hellraiser movie and it was boring. And I don't know.
I couldn't watch more than 15 minutes.
This is all at a very low level. This is all very lowbrow, and you know, I mean, I never watched Alex Jones. He would step in it every now and then. I remember somebody named Michelle Malkin once had some big
Yeah.
public confrontation with him. Is whatever happened to her? Did she just?
She burned out.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And now the next one
It
is,
was kind of cute at the beginning.
well,
Then she became nasty.
Candace Owens is burning out.
Oh God,
She's-
she's already burned to a crisp.
her face now looks like a hatchet fish,
Yeah.
and she's just, the topics she's covering are just embarrassing. So she's going to go the way of Michelle Malkin, unfortunately for her.
Disappear. Well, unfortunately for her, I mean, she dropped the mask as a grotesque anti-Semite.
Sure.
What can I say? Fuck her. I don't care.
Well, I don't believe for a second that when she went there were Jewish people trying to convert her. And, she was warned several times, like, stop trying to tell Jewish people they're going to hell and all that stuff. And eventually she got fired, and you know,
And listen, you can say anything you want about her former boss.
yeah,
You
I
can
mean,
say that anybody can debate an 18-year-old
yeah,
cretin. big fucking deal. But, a lot of people make money with that. You cannot say he's a bad person. You cannot say he's
Well,
anything other than a respectable man and a good conservative.
I'm going to stick up for any Jewish person who's attacked by a mob of people who claim to be on my side. I'm on Ben
Yeah,
Shapiro's side. I'm not on your side, buddy. The,
bingo.
I can't say I was disappointed because the masks that dropped were on people who I don't really care about, but I was kind of surprised that they felt so comfortable coming out with this. And that leads us into the current state of this.
Before we go into the current state, we've been on YouTube for half an hour. So let me
Yeah,
interrupt you 2 seconds. Folks, we are doing this in of course, the Quadverum channel in Odyssey, three timelines in X, mine, Quadverum's, and Thomas here. No, no, you fucking morons, the idiots who keep sending me messages. Nobody hijacked his account. It's
that
his account. He
Saul.
just lets me do some shows through it.
Anything you say, Saul, you are always right, Saul.
Oh no, don't give up. Don't give up. I told you you have to keep the mic control to yourself.
I'm
You
sorry.
cannot divulge it.
Something happened. I don't know. It failed for a moment. I'm sorry.
Okay. So to all of those idiots, and by the way, to all of those who say, "Oh, I like Thomas, but I can't stomach Soul," it's fucking mutual, buddy. Eh, I don't like you. I don't have this man's patience, and I don't block you because I'm a coward who doesn't want to go. I block you because I am bored to tears by imbeciles. And I've decided that life is short. And I have maybe 15 years left,
Oh, more than
20
that.
on the outside, assuming everything goes okay.
I mean, just judging by your parents, whew, you got a long way to go.
Well, that's the thing, buddy. 20 years, I'll be my father's age when he passed.
But
Well, he,
you grew up in an age of much more advanced medical care, and
yes, but you know, I'm not that old. You're not looking at the ravages of age. You're looking at the consequences of a dissipated lifestyle. Anyway, so fuckers, I don't care. It could be another 5 years on the outside. I really don't care. What I do care is I have sworn upon the altar of God that I will not give an imbecile more than 30 seconds of my life. So you showed me you're an imbecile, you're out of my life. Easy, simple. And speaking of that, we are now out of uh, YouTube, but you can always come to Odyssey. So come and watch the whole thing or not. It's your choice.